Alright, let's move on to the next channel, or next pattern rather. Got my world drums. Now this can be very tricky to mess around with, and very hard to EQ as well, since everything is on the same channel. So let's go take a look. World drums. Got a limiter on compressor mode, and I'm just compressing a whole bunch and very lightly. You can see it's barely doing anything. Right? Barely doing anything. And parametric EQ, more like subtraction, so I'm taking away the low end stuff and this little section right here to make the rattling sound you know, normal. If I bring it up, sounds very muddy, crushy, and yeah, there you go. So subtraction actually makes things sound more natural, whereas if you're bringing out a certain frequency, it may not sound too great, but you know, as soon as you throw it in the mix, it should sound fine. But if you're looking for natural performance as is, like if there's a chance of your sound being soloed or very present in a mix, then you're best off subtracting the frequencies that you don't want, rather than bringing up the frequencies that you want. Alright, so that's a little quick tip on EQs. Alright, let's move on. Number 6. Sorry, this is a very long episode. So all I got here is pitcher. Make sure that the vocalist or the sample is singing on tune, on pitch. And all I'm doing is got reverb on it. Nothing crazy. Right? So reverb. Small room. Well, medium sized room. Not so much, you know, halfway on the wet level, and then maybe 3/4, 1/4 rather, on the early reflections level, and very wide. Separate the stereo. Separation. Alright, cool. So that's pretty much it. Nothing crazy on there. Move on to the next pattern. Guitars. Real guitar. Real LPC by Music Lab. Alright, so what I have here is hardcore. Got a modulator. Not doing too much really. It's very subtle. Got the reverb. I also got reverb, I believe. No, this is the reverb on the track. Got a phaser that's not on, but that's what it sounded like if I had it on. I was debating if I wanted it or not. But anyway, moving on. I got my EQ. Cut off the highs, cut off the lows. All you got is this little hump, making it sound oldish on this jazzy guitar. But it cuts the mix very nicely. Limiter, and this is just to make sure that nothing is going above 0. I just want everything to sound clean and not distorted, not compressed too much. Alright, so that's all it is for my guitar, and that goes for all my other guitars. They're pretty much on that same channel. Yep, all my guitars sound the same. Here's my Piano Tech Rode R2 Bamboo modified just a little bit, and I did 0 to this. This has nothing on it. I want this way, the way that it is. We can use an EQ to find out what it's really doing. It has a lot of lower end stuff, lower, mid-lower section, with a bit of a clearness happening. Right there. But most of the information is down in this corner right here, and what I could do is I could do that, right? And I want to subtract because I like the way that this sounds already. It's gonna subtract, and that high frequency is happening right here. So what I want to do is do something like that, and yeah, I should do the same thing. There you go. Subtraction. It's really all I'm doing, subtraction, because I want to leave the Rhodes piano like that, very natural. All right, let's move on. Going on to 10. Funky guitar. Huh. Get on up. Anyway, my guitar is different here. I have an EQ that I should be using. I don't know why it's off, but let's turn it on. So there it is. Turn it off. Not much of a difference. That's because I'm subtracting, right? Everything sounds more natural that way. Hardcore! Got a bit of distortion. There's some reverb, but I didn't have it on. So there's my guitar. I can't hear it. Turn it on. Bam. Phaser. Give it that funkified effect. Cool. We good? Go into reverb. And that's why I don't have the reverb on here, because I like it better here. Very small room. High cut, low cut. You can see it's pretty much all the way down. And pretty wet. Very short room decay time, about 4.4 seconds. But very wide at the same time. So it gives that really quick slap that you don't hear, but it just adds a little more to it, right? Alright, let's move on. Almost done here. Bassline. Okay, so first of all, let's just look at the bassline here. I have more bass, more mid, and a lot more treble. Now, I compensate that by going in EQ and then killing everything. And what's the point of that? Well, the point is to fill up this section as much as you can. If you end up EQing with this, let's say, you're not going to have that much information to mess around with. So the idea is to fill it up and then destroy it. It's like fitting all these. It's like using a milkshake through a tiny straw, and this is the tiny straw. Right, so that's what we want to do. So a lot of information happening at the low end, 50, 100. Don't want that to go with the kick drum. So what you do is you stack it, and you cut off, and you do things. That's the snare, isn't it? There you go. And also you wanna, the snare is very important too. But anyway, the kick drum. See that? I wanna hit up 50. 50 is cut off entirely, so that when the kick hits, you hear that boom. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Bass lines working together with the kick and a little bit with the snare too. You can see that there's a dip here, an increase here, slight increase, right? The idea is to just make sure my kick and the snare smack really hard, but as well as get in the tone of the bass line. Anyways, that is how I create my song. That's how everything sounds so nice and clear, nice and crisp, very professional sounding. I'm Danny from Music Marketing TV. Thank you for watching this last episode of Making Beats. Peace.